Let me tell you something no one talks about. If you've been doing squats to build stronger glutes after 50 and you're feeling it in your knees, your lower back, everywhere except your actual butt muscles, it's not because you're doing them wrong, it's because squats were never designed for bodies like yours. Most people over 50 are stuck in a brutal cycle. They're told squats are the gold standard, the king of lower body exercises, the thing everyone should be doing. So they push through the discomfort, the joint pain, the feeling that something's not quite right, and then they wonder why their glutes stay flat, their knees start aching, and their confidence in their own body begins to slip away. Here's the hard truth that most fitness advice completely ignores. When you're over 50, your body has changed. Not just muscle mass, not just flexibility, but the way your nervous system communicates with your muscles, the way your pelvis sits, the way force travels through your joints. And squats, they demand a level of mobility, stability, and perfect alignment that most people lost years ago. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 movements that work with your body, not against it. Movements that don't just build stronger glutes, they rebuild the foundation that makes real strength possible. And here's what makes this different. 2 of these can be done sitting down. No balance required, no fear of falling, just pure targeted glute activation that actually works. But first, we need to talk about why everything you've been told about building glutes after 50 has been setting you up to fail. If you're over 50 and you've been told your glutes are weak, I want you to know something. It's not your fault. You're living in a world where most fitness advice is copy-pasted from programs designed for 25-year-old bodies. Bodies that can still drop into a deep squat without thinking. Bodies where the nervous system and muscles fire in perfect sync. Bodies that haven't spent decades sitting in cars, at desks, on couches. That advice? It usually starts in the wrong place. More squats, heavier weights, push harder, just keep moving. But here's what they don't tell you. According to the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity, as we age, we lose not just muscle mass, but the neuromuscular coordination needed to activate key muscles like the glute medius and minimus. These are the muscles responsible for keeping your pelvis stable, your hips strong, and your body balanced. A 2022 review from the European Journal of Clinical Physiology found something even more revealing. Pelvic misalignment becomes increasingly common after 50, especially in those with a history of sedentary work or forward-leaning posture. What does this mean in plain English? Your body starts shifting force away from your glutes and onto your lower back, knees, and quads. Not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, but because the system that controls how your glutes fire has gone offline. And when you try to do squats on top of this broken foundation, you're not building strength, you're reinforcing dysfunction. This is why so many well-meaning people over 50 report the same frustrating experience. My knees hurt every time I squat. I feel it in my thighs, but never in my glutes. My lower back aches for days after I train. I don't feel stable enough to go deep. It's not the exercise failing you, it's the wrong exercise for where your body actually is right now. So what's the solution? Not more reps, not perfect form on an exercise your body can't safely perform, but a smarter sequence, a 3-step system that actually works after 50. Reset the pelvis, restore alignment so your glutes can actually fire, stabilize, reactivate the deep glute muscles for balance and control, strengthen, build real shape, lift, and power that lasts. And here's the beautiful part. You can do the first 2 steps sitting down, no balance required, no gym needed. Just your chair and your body. Let me show you exactly how this works. Exercise number 1, seated pelvic resets, the missing link. Your body's been waiting for. Before you can build strong glutes, you need to wake them up. And that starts with something almost no one talks about, pelvic positioning. Here's what happens after years of sitting. Your pelvis gradually rotates forward. This is called anterior pelvic tilt, and it creates a chain reaction. Your hip flexors get short and tight, your lower back arches too much, and your glutes, they stretch out and turn off. A 2021 paper in Gait and Posture found that pelvic misalignment directly reduces glute activation and increases compensatory loading in the lower spine and knees, especially in adults over 50. But here's the good news. Your body can remember what it forgot. You just have to send the right signal. How to perform seated pelvic resets. Sit toward the front edge of a sturdy chair, feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Hands rest gently on your thighs. Sit up tall, but not rigid. Phase 1. The tilt forward anterior. Gently rock your pelvis forward, arching your lower back slightly. You should feel your sit bones, the bony parts under your butt, tilt backward. Think, stick your chest out, tailbone back. Hold for 2 seconds. Phase 2. The tilt backward, posterior. Now rock your pelvis backward, tucking your tailbone under. Your lower back will round slightly. Think, tuck your tailbone, hollow your lower back. Hold for 2 seconds. Phase 3. Find center. Rock back and forth slowly 5-6 times. Then settle into the middle position where your spine feels naturally stacked. This is neutral. This is where your glutes can finally wake up. Key cues. Breathe naturally. Don't hold your breath. Move slowly and with intention. This isn't a stretch. It's a neural reset. You should feel gentle engagement deep in your glutes when you hit that neutral position. If you don't feel anything, that's okay. You're rebuilding a connection that's been dormant. Common mistakes. Moving too fast. This is precision work, not cardio. Holding tension in your shoulders or neck, forcing the range of motion. Expecting immediate dramatic sensation. Do this for 10-12 slow repetitions, then rest. Repeat for 2-3 sets. You can do this while watching TV during a work break, even first thing in the morning while you're having coffee. The more often you remind your body where neutral is, the faster your glutes will start responding to everything else you do. And once your pelvis knows how to sit in the right place, that's when the real activation begins. Exercise number 2, seated hip abductions with band stability. You didn't know you lost. You've reset your foundation. Now it's time to lock it in. Your pelvis might be aligned now, but that doesn't mean it's stable. And when you're over 50, this distinction becomes everything. Think about how often you lose your balance, stepping off a curb, turning too fast, catching yourself on a slippery floor. These aren't just accidents, they're signals that your glute medius and minimus, the deep lateral hip muscles, have gone quiet. These muscles don't make your jeans fit better. They don't move big weights, but they do keep your pelvis level when you stand on one leg. They keep your knees from caving in. They keep your spine from overcompensating for unstable hips. And once they go offline, everything downstream suffers. Studies in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy show that reduced glute medius function is directly correlated with poor balance and increased fall risk, difficulty standing on one leg, knee and hip instability, decreased walking speed, hip and lower back pain. Even worse, walking doesn't fix it. Squats barely touch it, but this seated move, it lights them up like nothing else. How to perform seated hip abductions with band. Sit in a sturdy chair, feet flat on the floor. Place a resistance band around your thighs just above your knees. You can use a light exercise band, or even a belt if you don't have one. Start with feet hip width apart. Hands rest on the chair or your thighs for support. Phase 1, the push. Keeping your feet planted, press your knees outward against the band. Focus on pushing from your outer hips, not just moving your knees. Go as wide as you comfortably can without your feet lifting or rolling. You should feel this deep in the sides of your hips. Phase 2, the hold. Hold at the widest point for 3-5 seconds. Keep breathing. Don't tense your shoulders or clench your jaw. Feel that deep burn in the sides of your glutes? That's the medius waking up. Phase 3, the control. Slowly allow your knees to return to the starting position. Don't just let the band snap back. Control their return. The eccentric phase, returning, is where a lot of strength is built. Progression. Week 1, 10 reps, 2 sets, hold for 3 seconds. Week 2, 3, 12 reps, 3 sets, hold for 5 seconds. Week 4, plus, add a second band or use a thicker resistance band. Key cues. Keep your torso upright. Don't lean forward or backward. Think about pushing your knees away from each other, not just out. Imagine you're trying to tear the band apart with your thighs. Your feet should stay completely flat and still. Common mistakes. Lifting your feet or letting them roll outward. Using momentum instead of muscle control. Holding your breath. Rushing through reps instead of holding the contraction. A 2020 EMG study in clinical biomechanics found that seated hip abductions with resistance activated the glute medius at 68% maximum voluntary contraction. That's higher than side-lying leg lifts, higher than standing exercises, and way higher than walking or squatting. And you're doing it from a chair. Safe, controlled, effective. This is the bridge between having aligned hips and having strong hips. When you can push against resistance without wobbling, without compensating, without pain. And that's when you're ready for the final step. the one that gives your glutes not just function, but real, visible strength. Exercise number 3, single leg glute bridge, the king of glute exercises. After 50, this is the movement everything has been building toward. It's not flashy, it's not complicated, but it's powerful, precise, and transformational. The single leg glute bridge may be the most effective glute exercise ever studied for people over 50. It activates all 3 glute muscles simultaneously, builds serious strength, and does it without putting dangerous stress on your knees or spine. But here's the part most people miss. It only works when your pelvis is aligned and your stabilizers are turned on. That's why we started with the seated pelvic resets. That's why we trained your lateral stability with hip abductions. Now, with the foundation laid, it's time to build real power. Why it works so well. Unlike squats, which require perfect mobility and distribute force across multiple joints, the single leg bridge isolates the glutes in a safe, supported position, trains hip extension, the primary function of your glute max, challenges balance and core stability, builds strength in the exact range of motion you use to stand up, climb stairs, and get out of chairs, loads the glutes eccentrically, the lowering phase, where most muscle growth happens. A 2023 meta-analysis in the NSCA Journal of Strength and Conditioning found that single-leg glute bridges activated the glute max, glute medius, and glute minimus at tier 1 levels, higher than squats, lunges, or conventional deadlifts when performed with proper form and tempo. Better yet, you're lying on the floor, your back is supported, there's no balance fear, no risk of falling, just pure glute activation. How to perform single-leg glute bridge. Lie on your back on a mat or carpet. Bend both knees, feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart. Arms rest at your sides, palms down for stability. Engage your core gently. Pull your belly button toward your spine. Phase 1. Lift one leg. Extend your right leg straight out, keeping it in line with your left thigh. Flex your right foot, toes pointing towards ceiling. This is your starting position. Phase 2. The bridge. Press through your left heel, not your toes. Lift your hips toward the ceiling. Drive until your body forms a straight line from your shoulders to your left knee. Your extended right leg should stay in line with your left thigh throughout phase 3. The squeeze. At the top, squeeze your left glute hard, hold for 3 seconds. Think about pulling your heel down into the floor to maximize glute engagement. Phase 4. The lower. Lower your hips slowly back toward the floor. Don't just drop. Control the descent. Stop just before your butt touches the ground. Immediately begin the next rep. Start with 8, 10 reps per leg. Rest 30, 60 seconds between sides. Perform 2, 3 sets total. Train this 2, 3 times per week. Key cues. Lead with your heel pressing down, not your toes pushing. Keep your hips level. Don't let one side drop or twist. Your core should stay engaged throughout. Don't arch your lower back excessively. Breathe. Exhale as you lift, or inhale as you lower common mistakes. Pushing through your toes instead of your heel. This shifts work to your quads and calves. Arching your lower back at the top instead of using your glutes. Letting your hips twist or rotate. Rushing through reps without the 3-second hold at the top, touching the floor between reps. Keep tension on the muscle. Progression path. Beginner, weeks 1, 2, 2 leg bridges. Keep both feet down until you build strength. Hold the top for 5 seconds before lowering intermediate, weeks 3, 4. Single leg bridges as described above. Add a pause at the bottom for 1 second before next rep advanced. Week 5. Elevate your foot on a low step, 4, 6 inches. Add a resistance band around your hips for extra load. Slow down the tempo. 3 seconds up, 3 seconds hold, 3 seconds down. This is the move that shapes, strengthens, and protects. It trains movement patterns you use every single day, getting out of bed, standing from a chair, walking upstairs. And when done consistently, it can transform not just how your glutes look, but how your entire body moves. Why these 3 beat squats after 50? Let's be clear about something. Squats aren't bad exercises. They're just not designed for most bodies over 50. And that's not your failure. That's just biomechanics. Here's what makes these 3 movements superior for building glutes after 50. 1. They work with your body, not against it. Squats demand deep hip and ankle mobility, which most people lose by age 50. Perfect spinal alignment under load, strong knees that can handle compressive forces, balance and coordination most people no longer have. These 3 exercises require a chair for the first 2, the floor for the third, basic movement most people already have too. They activate more glute, less everything else. Research shows that when people over 50 squat, especially if they've been inactive, they shift force. 60% to quads and knees, 25% to lower back, only 15% to glutes. with pelvic resets, seated abductions, and single leg bridges. 70 to 85% glute activation, minimal knee stress. Protected spine position 3. You can do these in your living room. You can start today, even if you haven't exercised in years, and you can progress them gradually without ever putting yourself at risk. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. You don't need to train like you're 20. You don't need to chase pain to prove you're strong. You need a system that respects your age and honors your potential. The truth is, your glutes aren't gone. They're not broken. They're just waiting for the right signal in the right order. Reset your foundation with seated pelvic tilts. Stabilize your structure with seated hip abductions. Strengthen with confidence using single leg glute bridges. These 3 movements will do more for your glutes than 100 squats ever could, because they're designed for where your body actually is, not where fitness magazines think it should be. It's not about catching up. It's about reconnecting to your strength, your stability, and your future. You're not too late. You're just getting started. Important medical disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. It's not medical advice and doesn't replace professional guidance from your doctor or physical therapist. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider before starting any new exercise program, especially if you have existing health conditions. Now, here's what I need from you. Drop a comment below with your first name, age, and where you're watching from. Tell me which of these 3 exercises surprised you most. Which one are you starting with today? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to take that first step. And if this video helped you see your glutes, your body, and your potential differently, hit that subscribe button. Because I create videos like this every week that give you real science-backed strategies that actually work for bodies like yours. Not trends, not hype. Just what works. Thanks for being here. Now go reset, stabilize, and strengthen those glutes. You've got this.